Good morning, everyone. Happy Hump Day. Happy Wednesday. I'm Christine Pullara, and this is Atlanta and Company. Let's start off the show with smiles, love, and laughter with my BFF, the happiness guru, the purveyor of joy, the giver of love and laughter. Did I already say that? I'm trying to just, I'm just trying to think of all things positive. It's Cara Kneer.
Thank you, my friend. Wow, that is such an intro to live up to. But you know what? When you were saying all those kind things, I could hear the smile in your voice. You do it so well, my friend. And thank you for reminding me that it's Wednesday because I've completely lost track of time. But that's okay because we're going to get you through the rest of your week with some happy stories. And this first one is no exception. It is a remarkable journey. I think we need to take you back on this couple's life a little bit to understand how far they have come. The couple is Andy and Thomas, and Andy and Thomas have been married for years, and they were trying to get pregnant, went through fertility treatments, got pregnant with twin boys, had the boys. One of them died shortly in the NICU after birth, and then the other one survived but has visual impairments and some learning disabilities. But she said, do not feel sorry for him. He is perfectly capable, and he's the happiest kid in this household, so he's doing well. Then they got pregnant again with girls. The girls were also born early. So after that, you know, if you've been part of a high-risk pregnancy, you know that there are so many doctor visits. And so they said, you know what, we've always felt called to adopt and to foster children. So after they had their 3 biological kids, they thought we are going to do just that. So in 2017, they got licensed to be a foster family. I know. Wait, hold on, girlfriend. We are not even halfway done. Okay, so they are licensed to become foster parents. They get a 2-year-old, a little boy, a 2-year-old little boy. And they are, you know, raising him, having the best time. They get his brother and sister. So now there are 3. If you're keeping track at home, that's 6 children. And they said, you know, they just felt this community connection, that they were meant to be with them. Well, the 2 boys and the girl had twin older brothers that would come visit to see their siblings. And the twin older brothers would joke and say, we wish we could all be together. Can we come live with you? But they were with another foster family. So eventually the parents terminated their rights. And so they were allowed to adopt all 5 of these siblings and keep them together. So they're all under one roof now. The adoption was finalized, and they said they couldn't be happier. It was such a God thing that they were involved on. So if you're still keeping count at home, that is 10 people total in that family. A remarkable family. I'm so happy for them and the journey they've all taken together. I would like to reach out to them personally and say, how you doing, first? And second of all, what do you drive and what is dinner time like at your house? Can you imagine cooking for 8 children every night?
No, Cara, I can barely handle 2. That is so incredible. You want to talk about a heart or hearts that are so filled with love and generosity. I mean, that is really remarkable. I don't honestly know many people who would do that, who would take on, you know, such a responsibility. That is amazing. I see actually a special reality show in the making with that family. So I'm going to say somebody needs to get on that.
Right? So sweet. Yeah, I can't imagine either. And just to have all those people under one roof, I think it is very, you were made to do that. You were born to take in that many children if you choose to do so. And thank God for people like you. So yes, okay, so speaking of thanking God for people making a difference in the world, this next story is also no exception. It started out with a woman who worked at Publix, and she said she thought the pandemic had really gotten everybody down. Couldn't be more accurate. But she said one of the things that she's noticed is that people aren't smiling because everybody's wearing a mask, so you can't see people's smiles. So she wrote a letter to a man who she knew was making masks with a clear front on it. And she said, can you make me one, please, quickly, because I work at this grocery store and I would like to be able to smile to my customers. That letter touched him personally because it's a doctor, Dr. Travers, who's been making and sewing these masks. He sews hundreds a week for people. You can order one on his Instagram. He only has about 450 followers on Instagram. But quickly, his backstory is he was born with bone brittle disease, brittle bone disease. Say that 7 times. So he lost his hearing in 2002. He's broken over 70 to 80
Oh
bones in
my
his life. And he
goodness.
said he relies so much on reading people's facial expressions and their lips when they speak because of his hearing loss. And so I just started thinking too about how I can't imagine how hard that is for people who rely
I
on
know.
that to communicate with others. So he said he sent her mask immediately. He's fulfilling orders as we speak. Just an incredible human trying to make a difference in people's lives who maybe we hadn't thought about during this pandemic.
Oh my gosh, that is incredible. All that he's gone through, and then to still want to give back and inspire to others. And I'm with you. I miss people's expressions, and I want you to know I'm giving you my biggest smile, my biggest expression of love. Thank you for lightening our load this morning with positivity. And guys, if you have a fun or interesting It's All Good story, we would love to hear from you. It's facebook.com/ATL & Co. or tweet us using the hashtag It's All Good.